All right, good morning, everybody, in the live trading room, and good morning to everyone on YouTube. Thanks for tuning in, guys. Smack that like button and subscribe to our channel, and let's get right at it. PPI numbers just came out. Year over year, 4.2%, second largest gain ever, according to CNBC, and that's not good for inflation. You had immediate reaction on the stock market. The SPY is pulling, as you can see here, and the NASDAQ as well pulling, and the Russell 2000. The Russell 2000 is taking a deeper dive, actually. Let's take a look at the 10-year yield. 10-year yield did spike this morning. It's trading at 1.685, bull flagging in pre-market, so we might see 1.7 and up. There's going to be a lot of volatility, which is good because, I mean, man, the last couple of days, the volatility has been really slow, even though the market has been grinding higher. On the daily chart on the SPY, you can see we are at all-time highs. Today's pullback could potentially create a double top if the market closes red on the day. So today is going to be a pretty interesting day. I was actually looking at the RSI on the S&P 500, and we were, prior to this pullback that we're seeing in pre-market, we were just shy of 70 on the overbought territory on the S&P 500. In the last couple of days, since actually April 5th, we've been riding up that upper Bollinger Band on the S&P 500. So I don't know. And take another quick look on the volume. Even though the market has been grinding higher, the volume has been decreasing. So we're grinding higher on lower volume. And then the RSI is shy of overbought, trading on the upper Bollinger Band. We need a damn pullback. This market is just running on steroids, man. That's just my opinion. Anyways, here's my A-list. Fubo. I like Fubo. You guys saw that I called to swing it. I already started a position on a swing. I took a starter position. If it pulls to $21, I'll add into it again. I have stops at 20 though. So I have stops at $20 on Fubo in case it just decides to flush. What I like about it on the daily is the following. It's sitting on its 200-day moving average. It has a 35% short float. And news came out that they got exclusive rights to stream the Qatar World Cup. Pretty good news if you ask me. And I think Fubo has been beaten down. However, if the NASDAQ and the markets decide to just continue to sell off because of these inflation numbers, the Fubo trade will get hurt today. So just, if you're going to swing it, be patient. On a day trade perspective, which I will day trade it as well on top of the swing, if it decides to sell off, if it breaks this like $22 range, especially pre-market low of $21.81, go in for a short. If it decides to rally, I want to see it reclaim this like $22.50 range for us to break it out of pre-market high. That's what I see on Fubo. My next stock that is on my A-list is Afmd. They came out with some news, phase 1 data. It's looking pretty good. Closed yesterday at $7.89, trading at $10.71. This stock is pretty interesting because you got to pull back like 5-10 years on the chart to see where this could potentially go. On the monthly chart, back in 2015, you could see that the next area of resistance is approximately $11.86. If it breaks out of that, you could see $13.53 on this before you go even higher. So I like this name. I think it's got some potential good momentum on it if volume kicks in. Really, with these types of names, we need massive volume to come in on it. So keep a close eye on it. I checked and I was able to short this as well with Merrill Edge, so which makes me happy because I can trade both sides of it. So if Afmd starts breaking down, and let's say it breaks like $10.50, $10.20, I'm going to look to scale in for a short position, especially if this fails the $10 range. It's going to just fade slowly. Sorry. If we see a nice pop and it starts to rally, look for that entry point, especially if it breaks out of $10.85. First target, pre-market high, $11.30. And then from there on, we just got to watch level 2 and see where the next area of resistance is for this stock. So that's what I see on AFMD. Another stock that I'm going to closely watch is Carnival Cruise Lines. Why? Carnival Cruise Lines got a $40 price target this morning. It was popping up really nicely, but then the market started to sell off because of the inflation numbers. So it's not gapping up as much. If Carnival Cruise Lines breaks pre-market low of like 28.59 and the market is just selling off heavy, we can go in for a short. But if Carnival Cruise Lines reclaims like the 28.80, 28.90 range, we can look for an entry point to push this higher. On the daily chart, I like Carnival Cruise Lines a lot. You can see here that if Carnival Cruise Lines can reclaim the 30 range in the next couple days, it could break out of that 30.61 and just rip to the upside. You got to pull up, a 1-year chart, actually a 2-year chart now on this one, to see where the next area of resistance is. Let me pull up a weekly. Yeah. So if we could break out of that like 30.60 range, I could see the next target potentially being $33, $34 on Carnival Cruise Line. And not today, I'm talking in the next couple weeks, couple days maybe. So, but the market has to be pretty strong for Carnival Cruise Lines to get that rally. However, I like the price target upgrade. So that's my play on Carnival Cruise Line. Let's see what direction it wants to take today. Another stock, Boeing. So Boeing, there's some news that Boeing 737 MAX has some electrical issues. Then you have Southwest Airlines coming out and saying that I think they're grounding the, let me not misquote that here. Yeah, they removed 30 of those aircrafts from schedule following notice of the electrical issues with the Boeing aircraft. So watch Boeing today. Some analysts coming out saying that it shouldn't be a big issue. So this could be a buying opportunity for Boeing. I think it is. However, if Boeing just continues to sell off, we can look for a short entry on it. Let me pull up a daily chart on this just to see some resistance. Yeah, we're sitting on the 13 MA exactly on the daily chart. Yesterday's low, like 249.50, around 250 range. Okay, so let's watch it closely, because if it breaks yesterday's low, then we've got some issues with it. But if we get a nice bottoming tail action, we can go long Boeing, put our stops at pre-market low wherever that's at. Okay, so watch Boeing very closely. Boeing is going to be an A-list stock for me from that regards. Another name is going to be PRVB. Let me see here. Boeing supplier files for bankruptcy. This was 2 days ago. Okay, good to know. Good to know. PRVB reported, I guess, bad data, and you see the stock gapping down. It's getting pretty hurt. It's a smaller name. The way I would like to trade it, if this stock breaks above $6.64, you can go long. Put your stops at $6.30. It's only like a 30-cent risk. But if this stock decides to sell off and breaks below that $6 range, I'm definitely going to look to short it with the first target of pre-market lows. And then you got to really pull up a couple years on this one to see where this can go potentially. This one reminds me of FGEN. So if this PRVB breaks below pre-market lows, I think the first target would be right here, 563, and then 471, which is the low, the monthly low on March 1st, 2020. So that's what I'm seeing here. And then, yeah, and that's close to a big rally that I had on June of 2019. So at least the bottom of that engulfing green candle on the monthly chart. So watching this one very closely, I like it. I think there's going to be some good volatility in it, hopefully. And I'm going to play this one. One other name is going to be CLOV. Yesterday played it nicely. You saw a ton of volume coming in on it. I played it a bunch of times and sold the rest of my position in after hours. It is selling off a little bit today. I want to watch it to see if volume can come back in and we can get a nice rally in it. But if the market is weak and the market is selling off, then we can look for a short position, especially if it breaks pre-market lows. So that's the way I'm going to play it with CLOV. And I'm out of time, but I'm going to keep an eye on the SPY and the triple Qs and IWM, because if market continues to sell off, those will be some easy puts that we can get for really fast money on the market. The NASDAQ is bear flagging at the moment, so that looks pretty good, and the SPY is bear flagging as well. So with that, Taj, sorry I took a couple minutes from you.
No, man. Great explanation of everything. And, today's Friday, so, want to close the week out strong. And what's nice about today is I think we have a good combination of both small cap names to watch, a few that Alex went over, as well as the large caps, especially if they start selling off. We could really find some great opportunities, especially on the short side. So with that being said, just to continue along with some of the small caps, I'll be keeping an eye on CELC. This is a name they've entered into a worldwide licensing agreement with Pfizer to help develop and commercialize. I'm not even going to try to pronounce that, some medical term. But nonetheless, it got a huge spike this morning. Closed yesterday at around $14.30, gapping all the way up to around $25 before selling off back to 18, and look where we're at now. We traded all the way back up to 24, I believe like 24.50, 24.70 actually. So as you can see, there's quite a bit of range on this. There's good volume being traded on it about the past hour or so. So really keep an eye on this, because I think this has a lot of the components for a big runner. I think when we saw earlier, the short interest on it was 5 million shares. 5 million shares on the float. So if you see a lot of day traders coming in trading this, you can easily see this rip to the upside. I believe I looked at the 10-year weekly, and there is some resistance here at 25, and then the all-time high is going to be $31, at least the 10-year high. So again, a lot of range on that. This can really break out at 25. You really have no resistance until 31. So we'll just have to keep a close eye on that level too. CLC would definitely be a stock to really watch out of the gates. Like Alex said, the overall market, definitely keep an eye on that, especially with these numbers for inflation coming out. You can see the market really started taking a dump around like 8:30. It really started to sell off and pick up momentum, and there is a bear flag happening down here. The SPYs are catching a little bit more of a bounce compared to the Qs, but the Qs are really flagging down here. It's trading right at the 8MA. So one thing that we can keep in mind is that if the Qs start to break down below, 332.60, 332.70, we could possibly look for a short and throw our stops around 333.20. So you're looking at anywhere between a 50 to 60 cent risk on that play. For me personally, I would like to see the market really find its footing, because this is a pretty aggressive gap down. The market did gap down 2 points already. I believe that was surpassing yesterday's lows. Yeah, the lows of yesterday were 333.74. We traded $1 below that. Same for the SPYs. So we really have to keep that in mind. It is Friday, so it may not be as clean of a move as earlier in the week, but let's see how the market reacts. Another name I'll be watching, individual name as always, is Apple. So the thing about Apple is I was actually, before this market sell-off happened, I was actually looking to play Apple long because of the breakout it was having on the daily. But if the market starts feeling the pressure of inflation, some of the news that's coming out, we're going to have to flip that bias on Apple. The lows of yesterday on Apple were 128.52. We came fairly close to it, 129.38. The pre-market high was 130.87. So we have, about a little over $1 range, about $1.50 range on this pre-market data. So if Apple starts to really break down below 129.30, 129.20, we could look for a short. There really is no support until around 129, and then after that, it's going to be that low of day from yesterday around 128.50. So this could be a name to keep an eye on if the market starts selling off aggressively. And another name we could look at is NEO. NEO is a name. The main reason I'm going to keep an eye on it is because although NEO had a bounce yesterday, it wasn't able to really reclaim a lot of the selling that happened the prior day on the 7th. So I believe that was on Wednesday, where NEO really had an ugly day. It's trending to the downside. It bounced off that daily 20 MA, and it's sitting right on its daily 8 MA. So the main thing I want to look for in NEO is if it's able to break out of yesterday's high or break below yesterday's low. If it breaks below yesterday's low, get ready to short NEO. I think NEO, if it starts to break below yesterday's low, Wednesday's low, you're going to see it come right back down to $34. So there's even potential for a swing here if that does start to happen. And like I said, if it starts to break those lows, definitely keep an eye on NEO. NEO's going to more so be on my B list, but it's one of those names that's easily going to convert to my A list if it really starts to pick up momentum. Another name I'll be watching is Viacom. Viacom has the past 2 days took a beating after the bounce that it had on Tuesday, and it's bear flagging down here on the daily. Closed yesterday at 42.29. We're pretty much at that same price.
Oh, wow.
But Viacom, it looks like it's just ready to fall off of a cliff. The fact that it was able to have no bounce whatsoever off of the first, somewhat test here of the 200 MA on the daily chart.
Yeah.
Really tells you where the stock wants to go, right? Was unable to break out above $48, and here we are right back down to those lows from when it really was selling off around $39.80. So for Viacom, if it starts to break below $42, $41.95 was the low from a couple of days ago when it had that bounce. If it starts to break below those levels, get ready to short Viacom. Because like I said, it's really struggling down here, and I think it looks like it's just ready to fall off a cliff, honestly. So definitely keep an eye on that. The daily volume is still good on it. Looking at the average, we did 58 million the day before, or yesterday, 125 million a few days ago, 84 million a few days ago. So it's heavily traded. So let's keep an eye on that as well, especially if the market starts feeling pressure. Other than that, I mean, those are pretty much going to be the main stocks that I'm watching. Definitely keep an eye on Microsoft. These are names that are trading right at the all-time highs. I prefer to trade Microsoft if the market is strong today. But if the market's weak, keep an eye on, you can trade the overall indices. Those are going to be fine. We were talking about maybe even swinging some puts. Alex, I think you said, dating into July or like a month out or something? Possibly even puts.
Well, what I mentioned was there were some big buyers, like over 100,000 calls for the July VIX 25 strike price. Big buyers came in yesterday, so they're hedging. They're hedging a massive portfolio just in case the market pulls.
Yeah. So keep an eye on that. The market really starts selling off due to some of this news. Keep an eye out for that. That could be a potential play. But let's see how the market reacts today out of the open. We've obviously had that aggressive sell-off initially, right around 8:30. But it does look like this semi-bounce is starting to happen on the SPYs here. So right out of the gates, honestly, just want to see if it holds. Let's be patient today and, let the market find its footing. Let it show us where it wants to go, and then we can play a bull flag or a bear flag, something along those lines. That's my game plan going into the open. But for the small cap stocks, I will be somewhat aggressive with those, specifically with Afmd and CELC. So definitely, and CLOB, that's another one as well, the big run it had yesterday.
Yeah.
Those are a little more aggressively, but for the large cap, let's just remain patient and wait for the setups after we get that momentum to whichever side.
Yes, sir. All right, well, less than 3 minutes before the market opens. So for everyone on YouTube, thanks for tuning in, guys. We'll see you all later with our trade of the day. and have a great weekend. We'll see you all on Monday.